To passers-by, this is just a block of vacant, unused land. But to Wattle Grove residents, this is their backyard, and the grounds of an environmental battle against the federal government.
We're getting used to it here. It seems the federal government love to torture the people in Wattle Grove.
Wattle Grove resident Roy Carter was surfing the web in 2007 when he discovered that a massive intermodal would be built right behind his house.
Well, I'm fighting for my home and the livability of the property that I live in, my family, and for my community.
Mr. Carter and his neighbours will face major investors Stockland, QUBE and QR National in a bid to stop this development in its track. The intermodal is the point where the freight is transferred from trucks to trains. An intermodal at Moorebank will mean the clearing of hectares of land to make room for domestic transportation. The ex-defence land was understood to be residential land by the owners of the properties surrounding it. But without consultation with the community, the government rezoned it to industrial land.
I feel that is a gross betrayal, because this land was sold by the Commonwealth government to private purchasers like me, and we bought here in good faith.
Investors and the Commonwealth government will build the intermodal with SIMTA, the Sydney Intermodal Terminal Alliance. And even with such great community protest, it seems as though the plans are going right on ahead.
Now we have the Commonwealth government who have no consideration for their neighbours, turning what was to be residential land, and if you look in the older versions of UBD road maps, you'll see streets marked out on this land for residential housing. Instead, we now have a major industrial development that has just miraculously appeared, supporting a huge government concept that has been there all along and has to have been there for very many years indeed.
Liverpool councillor Peter Hull has joined Mr Carter in his protest and says Liverpool Council is against the Moorebank Intermodal.
In fact, the government is deliberately keeping this quiet so that the residents can't do very much about it.
SIMTA representatives declined an interview, but claimed in an email that SIMTA is strongly committed to engaging with the community.
No, the residents are not being provided with enough information. The government has taken a purely bureaucratic approach, pointed us back in the direction of the system, that it's only a concept, that it's just under investigation.
But Wattle Grove residents say they won't be fooled, and the real dangers are becoming clear. Surrounding suburbs are within close proximity of the intermodal. Casula is 280 metres away, Liverpool 550, and Glenfield 770. And these houses here will be just 200 metres from the intermodal.
No, they've got it wrong. They should be putting this in an area where there are no residents. That area has many residents. It's already got major problems with transport because of the M5 and the M7.
A scientific report presented to SIMTA suggested that the best site would be Eastern Creek.
The only reason they're putting it there is because it's the cheapest option.
Penny pinching. It's government penny pinching. At Eastern Creek they would have had to purchase private land. At Eastern Creek they would have had to run a rail line. We'd have all of our local infrastructure smashed, our curbs, our gutters, our footpaths. Our children would be at risk. We would have literally tens, even hundreds of thousands of heavy vehicles in and out of this area.
However, developers say that an efficient intermodal will take over 3,800 trucks off Liverpool roads each day. Transport planner Dr. Michelle Zebots specialises in the analysis of sustainable transport systems.
Distributing freight in this way is, in the longer term, a much better deal.
But the long-term health effects are of higher priority to residents. And although SIMTA's General Manager Stephen Bull claims that there are environmental benefits of an intermodal, the community isn't convinced.
Research in the States says that diesel fuel exhaust pollution causes problems from the time babies are born to the time that you go to your grave.
They cause heart disease, bronchitis, asthma, lung cancer.
Now the sad thing is the Australian government doesn't recognise those reports. They have to do their own. How ridiculous if you've got people in the States saying this is definitely the case.
When you dig up an ex-defence training area, it's pot luck what you find. It will be released into the environment. It will be released into the air. The residents here will have to breathe it, and the environment, such as the river, will have to wear the load that goes down it during the development phase. I doubt there'll be a fish left alive in the Georges River when they dig all this up.
Perhaps the greatest disappointment for Liverpool residents is the scrapping of Plan Number 49. This site, along with the adjacent Amiens and Yulong sites, were to be part of a technology park.
That development control plan called for extensive technology industries park, landscaped gardens, ride your bike to work.
It's all very well for this government to buck past that onto next generation.
After 4 years of fighting this battle, Roy Carter has lost faith in many politicians.
This is big time, and the local politicians articulating concerns are just one voice that is being crushed.
But he maintains that he will continue to fight on.
Oh, there's been points where I want to give up, but by the same token, I'm stuck with it. This is where I live. This is my home.